this polling situation that's happening, and we'll maybe break that down a bit of where we are, as there are these poll numbers could be devastating to and again, I don't lie to you. I don't give you a lot of hyperbole. This is coming from the New York Times. This is not coming from, Right Side Broadcasting or something like that. Good friends there, no problem with them. But, I think they know where their allegiance stands. This is coming from the New York Times, which you would assume is going more left. And here is what they had to say.
That's right. And these were swing states. These are also states that President Biden won in 2020. So in order for President Trump to win in 2024, he would need to pick up many of these states. And what you're seeing here is that places like Nevada and Arizona, which were obviously hotly contested, President Trump has a pretty large gap between where President Biden sits as we stand right now. I would tend to think that a lot of this maybe has to do with issues like immigration, because those are in the Southwest. They are seeing the crisis firsthand, and the residents of those states, even if they are more in the middle as far as their policies go, their national security issues really are the border for them. So you have to think, okay, out in the Southwest, maybe that's what's happening there. You see in Georgia, which was obviously hotly contested in 2020, and a lot of the issues that we see for President Trump stemmed out of fighting for Georgia, but he has a 8 to 9 point lead depending on if you add the third-party candidates in or not. And even with the third-party candidates, it doesn't change the polling very much, because the largest person to get a chunk of votes when they added that candidate in was RFK Jr. There's also, we know, Cornel West and Jill Stein for the Green Party. They're not registering many, but there was a consistent almost 10% portion of these polls that went to RFK Jr., but the New York Times found that it was evenly split.
Yeah.
So basically 5 and 5 taken away from Biden and Trump.
What's interesting, that has actually been the talking point of RFK, which is when they ask him, who do you think you are actually going to potentially spoil, if you will? Could you be spoiling the party for Trump or for Biden? He's like, well, actually, I think I'm equally taking away from both. What's interesting is that that's something that's nice to say, but you would think he would appeal to one side or the other. But what is clear is that, yeah, he's drawing maybe that middle ground that he may be drawing, the swing voter. Then you go to, okay, who's left over? And if some of that swing voter likely went more Biden last time, they now would go RFK. They're bringing the Biden and Trump full capacity, if you will, of voters back to even. And that puts us in an interesting spot, because you almost, with RFK, start eliminating the swing voter, the voter that is in that sort of gray area that really could vote for a Republican or Democrat. We know that's not the majority. The mass majority of people vote their party line, and that's just the truth. Then you have that sliver, or you have a moment like an Obama or a moment like a Reagan, where the country does rally behind one candidate more so than the other.
Now, these numbers from the New York Times were pretty shocking to see, especially in these swing states. And this is where polling does start to get interesting, because a national poll, when you see, Biden's up 2% nationally, it doesn't mean anything because of the Electoral College. But when you start to look at these granular state-by-state polls where you actually do win the presidency, when you start to build these states together to win an election. But there was also, that came out this week, a poll that's not getting as much attention. This is from Tip Insights, and they were doing a national poll, but it was different breakdowns, and the independent category is what makes this interesting when you look at the New York Times poll, because you tend to think Pennsylvania, the Midwest, those states do have a lot more people that would consider themselves independent of the party, and they vote how they want to vote. But when you look at this, independents favored Trump 35% to 30% in a head-to-head race, according to this poll. So he's winning the independent vote by 5% in head-to-head. But when you go down to the independent vote for adding in the other candidates, Cornel West, Jill Stein, RFK Jr., Trump beats Biden 33% to 25% among independents. So when it comes to maybe party,
The independents are speaking.
The independents
and they're saying
are
not
speaking.
happy
Right.
with President Biden. Shocker. I mean, I don't think that's anything we all didn't think was happening. There are very few people. I know very few Democrats that are on the Biden train in the sense of they're going to go and campaign. Most of them are not happy with his performance. And these are sort of either they're far leftist, but most of my friends who are Democrats, I'd say, are pretty centrist Democrats who maybe got on board with Biden because they had no other choice and they didn't feel like they could vote for Trump. I feel like now you have given them these options and you've given anyone who is independent thinking an option to decide to vote against what they know is happening in this world. Look, I think you can turn to celebrities even. You have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who came out and he made a statement. He endorsed President Biden last go round and this time said he made a mistake. Okay, when you have big celebrities saying, I'm making a mistake and I'm not going to do that again and I'm not happy where the country is, there is a ripple effect with that. You have Tulsi Gabbard, obviously on this broadcast. Her book, the subtitle of it is Leave the Democrat Party Behind. She was out there running against President Trump. She was someone who did embrace President Biden in the campaign and now regrets it and is living in a situation where her mind has been changed. We maybe are living in the biggest moment where minds can actually be changed, where votes can actually be swung, which is very fun in some ways, because that should be what it is in America, that you aren't just voting party line. You actually can look around, see the chaos, see your prices of everything going up. Again, I'll be honest. Okay, the kids requested fast food last night for dinner last night. I said, you know what? Fine. Get them fast food. Went through the line. I have a family of 5, and it was like $85. And there's part of me going, what is happening? I should not have a problem with paying, for fast food for my family of 5 just because I am at the ability to go through this drive-through. And you typically, I don't know, for the last 30 years, I haven't really thought about it. Because usually, what does that mean? You go through the drive-through? $1 menu, $2 menu. Kids are asking for chicken nuggets. Whatever. Even if it's poison, it's what we did. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you we didn't. But when that bill came and it said $85 for my family of 5, you do start to look at the world around you. And what I'm thinking is there's enough people that is affecting now. It's not even just people who are below the poverty line or low income. You're talking about people who should not be thinking about whether they can afford to go get fast food for their kids. And when that starts happening, the poll numbers start shifting. And I think that is not something to laugh at. It is not something to joke about. It is truth. It is what's happening in our society right now. And if you have enough independent voters, a lot of those people are voting because of the economy. They may not care about the social issues you care about. They may not care about what's happening in Israel. Now, do I think they should? Of course, I think they should. But for a lot of people, that is not top line. Top line is, can I pay my bills? And if they're having trouble with that, can I afford to take my kids to, fill in the blank fast food? I don't want to give anybody any endorsement or non-endorsement here. And if they're saying no, they're going to vote differently, especially if they have no loyalty to a party or their political in general. They're just people that have been told you need to vote. Well, I know things are going poorly. Therefore, I'm going to hopefully vote the alternative. I'm going to encourage you right now, if you are not an ACLJ champion, to go ahead and do it. 21,000 of you have already. And we don't hit it that hard in these months. We did the Life and Liberty Drive and all that. I don't spend a lot of time talking, but it doesn't matter at what level you can give. Give monthly, become an ACLJ champion right now so we can not only talk about what's happening around the world, protect our friends in Israel, but when you need legal help, we can be there for you.